First part, disappearance. As the sun set, painting the sky with shades of orange and pink, for camping companions, me, Sarah, Mark, and Emily set out on a journey towards the serene campsite deep within the forest. This year's annual camping trip felt different, and the forest seemed more mysterious than ever before. On the first day, we easily set up our campsite and lit a campfire, but the weather suddenly turned colder, and the silence in the forest grew even more profound. Normally, the sounds of waves and the songs of birds surrounded us, but this time, the eerie quietness sent shivers down our spines. Emily, with a concerned look on her face, asked, "Isn't it strange how quiet this forest is?" Mark, with a reassuring smile, replied, "Just relax. The forest comes alive at night." However, Sarah and I agreed that the silence was unsettling. Our first evening around the campfire passed quickly, and we all decided to turn in early. That night, we had strange dreams. The forest's trees seemed to move ominously and close in on us, and throughout the dream, we heard eerie whispers and murmurs blending into our nightmares. When we woke up in the morning, the after effects of the dream still lingered. We also struggled to remember the exact location of our campsite. We couldn't pinpoint where our campsite was located among the seemingly identical trees in every direction. Panic set in as I exclaimed, "How did this happen? How did we lose the campsite?" Mark, scanning the surroundings with his eyes, said, "Maybe we've lost the path. We need to find our way back." Sarah, with a trembling voice, said, "Let's head back immediately." However, we were unsure which direction to go. Being lost in the depths of the forest was a reality we couldn't deny, and we were just at the beginning of our mysterious adventure. Second part, mysterious trails. In our state of anxiety and fear, we began to examine the trees around us carefully. Emily, with a trembling hand, pointed out, "Look, there seems to be a trail here." We gathered around her and saw what appeared to be a trail etched into the ground as if someone had carved it there. The trail looked like a path, but its destination was unclear. We couldn't discern where it started or where it led. Mark nodded and said, "Maybe these marks will guide us. Perhaps they will lead us back to our campsite." Sarah added, her voice filled with trepidation, "But how did these trails appear? We didn't have the time to create them." Emily was more inclined to follow the trails and suggested, "Maybe we should follow these marks. At worst, we might reach another campsite and seek help." Eventually, we decided to follow the trails. As we walked, the eerie silence of the forest deepened, and we heard strange noises that we hadn't encountered before. Distant echoing sounds mixed with the feeling of being watched by unseen eyes. Further along the trail, it became clear that these mysterious trails were leading us deeper into the forest, and we realized that we hadn't encountered such strange sounds before. We felt compelled to keep moving forward despite the eerie atmosphere. As we ventured deeper into the forest, our anxiety grew. We couldn't shake the feeling that we were being watched, and the sense of isolation in this mysterious forest was becoming overwhelming. We had embarked on a journey into the unknown, and we had no idea what awaited us or if we would make it out alive. Third part, into the darkness. As we continued to follow the mysterious trails, the sun began to set, casting the forest into an eerie twilight. The temperature dropped, and a light mist settled over the forest, making it even more enigmatic. Sarah, with a trembling voice, said, "How much longer will this go on?" We need to turn back. But turning back was no longer an option. When we looked behind us, there was no sign of the trail or any way to retrace our steps. In an instant, it felt like we were entirely isolated within the forest. Mark attempted to ignite a fire with his lighter, but the flames were quickly extinguished by the strong wind. Emily tried to use her flashlight, but it wouldn't work either. With darkness closing in, we heard something moving in the forest around us. Unseen creatures seemed to be whispering and lurking nearby, their presence sending chills down our spines. Suddenly, strange figures began to emerge around us. They were approaching rapidly, but their faces and bodies were shrouded in shadows. Fear began to pulse through our veins, and we exchanged frightened glances. Emily, her voice trembling, asked, "Who are these figures?" "We haven't harmed anyone." But the figures remained silent, only drawing closer, their faces obscured by darkness, and their eyes shining like points of light in the night. Their relentless approach made us panic, and we started to run, but no matter how fast we ran, they continued to pursue us. In the heart of this mysterious forest, we realized that we were facing an uncertain danger, and we didn't know what awaited us or whether we would survive the night. Fourth part, Ancestral Secrets. In a desperate attempt to escape, we ran for hours through the dark forest, our breaths ragged and our hearts pounding. Eventually, we reached a clearing, and, out of sheer exhaustion, we collapsed, gasping for air. The shadowy figures pursuing us seemed to stop in their tracks and kept their distance, as if they were bound by some invisible barrier. However, they continued to watch us intently. Mark, struggling to catch his breath, said, "What are these things, and why are they chasing us?" Emily, her eyes wide with fear, remembered something. "I once heard that this forest was considered sacred," she said. "Maybe these figures are its protectors, and we need to explain why we're here." But when we tried to communicate with the figures, we received no response. They remained silent and continued to gaze at us with their shadowy faces and glowing eyes. It was then that Emily had a realization. "Maybe we need to prove ourselves," she said. "Perhaps we need to face our own fears and pass their test to gain their trust." With newfound determination, we decided to confront whatever challenges lay ahead. We understood that these tests were not just physical, but also mental and emotional. The forest's powers were testing us in every way possible. Our first test involved entering a dark cave to confront our innermost fears. Each of us ventured into a different cave, where our fears materialized in terrifying forms. It was a test of our courage and resilience. After a grueling journey through our personal fears, we emerged from the caves, having conquered them. The symbols and images began to make more sense to us as we overcame our fears. We realized that the forest's powers were not only testing us physically, but also our mental and emotional strength. With newfound confidence, we continued to follow the shadowy figures, who now seemed more like guides than pursuers. We knew that we were on a path to uncovering the ancient secrets of the forest, and we were ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. Fifth part, Uncovering the Mysteries. As we continued to follow the shadowy figures, the symbols and images they showed us began to reveal more about the ancient secrets hidden within the forest. These symbols represented not only our fears, but also our inner strengths and abilities. Our journey led us to face more tests, each one tailored to challenge our unique strengths and weaknesses. These trials were not just about physical prowess, but also our ability to navigate the complexities of our own minds and emotions. In one trial, we found ourselves in a dense, fog-covered swamp where our progress was hindered at every step. It was a test of our determination and adaptability. We had to rely on each other for support and guidance to make it through the swamp. In another trial, we were confronted with a seemingly endless maze of mirrors, reflecting our own doubts and insecurities. We had to confront our inner demons and learn to trust ourselves. It was a test of self-confidence and self-discovery. Throughout these challenges, we realized that the forest's powers were not only testing our individual strengths, but also our ability to work as a team, to support one another, and to trust in our collective resilience. The shadowy figures continued to guide us deeper into the heart of the forest, revealing more of the ancient wisdom and the mysteries that had been hidden for centuries. We began to understand the true purpose of our journey, not just to escape the forest, but to uncover the timeless secrets that it held. With each test we faced and overcame, the symbols and images became clearer, and the forest's message started to make sense. We were no longer just lost in the wilderness. We were on a quest to understand the ancient forces that governed this enigmatic place. As we ventured deeper into the forest, we were filled with a sense of purpose and determination. We knew that whatever lay ahead, we were ready to face it together, armed with the knowledge and strength we had gained along the way. Sixth part, final confronting the unknown. Our journey through the forest had tested our limits, challenged our fears, and deepened our understanding of the ancient powers that resided within. The shadowy figures had transformed from pursuers into guides, leading us toward the heart of the forest's mysteries. As we followed the figures deeper into the forest, we arrived at a clearing unlike any we had seen before. The trees seemed to part, revealing a magnificent ancient tree with roots that stretched deep into the earth and branches that reached for the sky. It was unlike any tree we had ever encountered, and it pulsed with an otherworldly energy. The shadowy figures gathered around the tree, their forms becoming less obscure as they basked in its presence. The symbols and images they had shown us throughout our journey began to form a coherent narrative, revealing the true nature of the forest's power. Through their silent communication, we learned that the forest was a guardian of ancient wisdom, a repository of knowledge that transcended time and space. The tests we had undergone were meant to awaken our inner potential, to prepare us to receive this wisdom. Emily, Mark, Sarah, and I stood in awe of the tree, realizing that we were on the threshold of a profound revelation. The forest's message was clear. We were chosen to be the custodians of its secrets, entrusted with the responsibility of preserving its ancient wisdom. With a sense of humility and gratitude, we accepted this sacred duty. The shadowy figures, now more like mentors, guided us in a ritual that connected us to the tree's energy. We felt a surge of power, wisdom, and unity flowing through us, binding us to the forest and its mysteries. As we left the forest, we carried with us the knowledge and strength we had gained. We knew that we would return to the modern world, forever changed by our encounter with the ancient powers of the forest. Our campsite awaited us, but our journey was far from over. We had uncovered the timeless secrets of the forest, and we were determined to share its wisdom and protect its sanctity. The mysteries of the forest would remain hidden from most, but those who ventured deep enough and were tested by its powers would carry its legacy forward, ensuring that its ancient wisdom lived on. And so, our mysterious adventure in the depths of the forest came to a close. It had tested our courage, strengthened our bonds, and left an indelible mark on our souls. As we stepped out of the forest, we knew that our lives had been forever changed, and the secrets of the forest would continue to inspire and guide us on our journey through life.